In today's lesson, we're diving deep into the world of nonverbal cues. These subtle signals that decision makers send without saying a word. If you can pick up on these, you'll not only build trust faster, but also address unspoken concerns. Make it so much easier for your prospects to say yes to your solution. Now, have you ever walked out of a sales meeting and felt like you missed something? I know I have. Like the decision makers were holding back, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it and why. As sales professionals, we often focus so much on what we're saying that we forget to pay attention to what our prospects aren't saying. Nonverbal communication accounts for over 90% of what we communicate. This includes body language, facial expressions, eye contact, posture, and even the tone of our voice. While words can be deceptive, nonverbal cues are often more honest. They're the unscripted reactions that reveal what someone truly thinks or feels or understands. As a sales rep, mastering the art of reading these cues can be your secret weapon in closing more deals. Let's look at a situation where a business leader is crossing their arms during a presentation or in a business meeting, right? Something like this. What does this mean? First up, the classic crossed arms. This is often a sign of defensiveness or discomfort. Something is not sitting well with them. When a decision maker crosses their arms, they might be mentally distancing themselves from what you're saying. They could be skeptical or have hidden concerns that hasn't been voiced. Now, the key here is not to call them out directly, right? But instead to reframe your approach. For instance, you might say, I sense, Jack, that there might be some concerns about this solution fit with your current strategy. Could you share your thoughts on that? By doing so, this invites them to open up without feeling confronted. Another situation is a lack of eye contact, which can indicate discomfort, distrust, or even dishonesty. Now, if a decision maker avoids your gaze, they might not fully trust what you're saying, or they could be disengaged completely from the conversation. Now, what's one way to address this situation? Well, bring it back to them. To bring it back into the conversation, you could say something like, hey Shirley, I noticed that we haven't really touched on your primary concerns yet. Is there something specific that you're still wondering about? When you say this not only redirects their attention, but also shows that you're genuinely interested in their perspective. Now, have you ever experienced this? A client tapping their fingers or shaking their legs nervously. Have you ever experienced that in a meeting or in a conversation? When this happens, it usually is a sign of impatience or anxiety. This person might be feeling that the meeting is dragging on or that the time isn't being valued, what you're trying to explain. They could also be anxious about some of your aspects of your proposal. One way to circle back about this is to ease their anxiety. And you might say something like, Shirley, I want to be respectful of your time. So let me get straight to the point. What's the most critical factor you're considering before making a decision like this? Now, this shows that you're considerate of their time and focused on what matters most to them. Remember, it's all about them. It's all about your client. Fourth thing, leaning back or leaning forward. When prospects lean back, that might be it disengaging or feeling skeptical about what you're talking about. On the other hand, leaning forward is a sign of interest and engagement. If you see someone leaning back, it's time to re-engage them. You could say something like, "Hey Shirley, I want to make sure this solution is a perfect fit for your needs. What concerns do you have that we haven't discussed yet?" This brings them back into the conversation and gives them an opportunity to voice any lingering doubts. Number 5, which is the last one, is micro-expressions. Micro-expressions are those tiny, almost imperceptible facial movements that reveal true emotions. These are often subconscious and can happen in a fraction of a second. A quick frown might indicate confusion or disagreement, while a smirk could suggest skepticism or amusement. How do you address it? How do you address that? How do you speak to that? Well, since these cues are so brief, you need to be very attentive. And if you catch a micro-expression, it's important to probe it gently. You might say something like, "I noticed a quick reaction when we discussed the implementation process. Is there something about that you like more clarity on?" This allows them to express concerns that they may not fully have articulated before. Understanding and addressing nonverbal cues isn't about calling your prospects out or making them feel uncomfortable. It's all about being in tune with their unspoken thoughts and feelings and responding in a way that builds trust. By picking up on these signals, you can address hidden objections, engage your decision makers more deeply, and ultimately guide them to a yes with confidence. Remember, sales isn't just about what you say. It's all about what you perceive and how you respond. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment for more insights on mastering the art of sales. Thank you, and again, my name is Stefan Seguin. Appreciate you watching the video. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Stefan Seguin, your sales coach. In today's lesson, we're diving deep into the world of nonverbal cues.